What up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Of course, it's after Halloween and the sun decided to finally shine. So I guess we had to add a little bit of ambiance to the last couple of days. So, okay, very fitting. Nice joke. Nice joke, but at the same time, this isn't anything new. Shitty weather has been a thing since back in my day, going trick-or-treating when I was doing that. I want to talk about something a little bit on the obscure side. Something that I don't really talk about because I'm not fully involved like some people are. And I'm just getting like the tail ends of some of these things. Now, I have posted on Made in Liberty maybe a few times about this, of the resurgence of paganism, okay? When I say the resurgence of paganism, it has to do more with, since the Charlie Kirk experience, there has been this upheaval of gaslighting and blaming pagans, neo-pagans, and that's a fascinating thing for me. But at the same time, though, people have been saying this thing that anything that is not Christian this is pagan, that's pagan, when it's not. And I find this to be a little bit interesting, and I don't know where the psyop starts or how it started. But I want to also bring another side that I noticed from this infamous chaos magician. I would say infamous, but I mean she's famous in these circles. Kellyanne Maddox. She's pretty well known in the occult community and pretty much is up there with maybe like a B-list writer, I would say, talking about chaos magic. She was infamous for that. She resides out in the UK, by the way. And she made a video talking about how witchcraft is inherently political. It's activistic, and there's a bit of a problem for those that have such a better reach than she does. That why aren't these guys who do practice the occult, practice witchcraft, all these things, are not getting political on their platforms? So I'm going to talk about these two things because I find it to be an interesting intertwining. I think that you are going to see a bit of an intertwining with this, because even pagans on some level might be, are leftists. Not all of them, not all. That's why I've stated you get like different flavors. But getting back to the political side, is witchcraft inherently political? I'm of the opinion that you can make it political if you wish. It doesn't have to be inherently political. In terms of this whole thing of the archetype of the witch, right? It's become a feminist and adversarial archetype evolved over time, at least in the underground, in the sense of online. It's getting another layer of this egregore, you could say. And I have to agree, at least looking at it from our time period, but back in the day, not all of these people, all of these women, again, looking at the Salem witch trials, it really did depend on your status in society, in Puritan society. The worst witch trials were in Puritan society. Catholic societies, they didn't really care too much, but they did have a distinction between what was good versus bad magic. They were of the opinion that, okay, if you're using magic in terms of healing and medicinal stuff, great, cool. But if you're going to start using it to manipulate and hex people and start getting in our way, we're going to have a problem. But for the most part, it was okay. It was tolerable. But in Puritan societies, it was more about, it had to do more with land grabs. And if you were a woman that was widowed or you didn't necessarily fit in the mold depending on the stage of your life. And if you didn't go with the flow of things, you know, everybody have to go to church type of thing, you were going to be seen as funny. You're going to be seen, like even slaves. Tituba would be an example of such a thing. So you have these things, but looking at it from our point of view is kind of doing it a little bit injustice. And the reason why I say it could be political, because I hear communists say that the personal is political and the political is personal. That's why I say it has a bit of woke tones and ideas behind that. So it could be whatever it is you want it to be. But it doesn't take away the adversary. See, this is where I differ from a lot of people. I'm able to see it on both sides, how people are like, look, I don't want to get into politics. I just want to put information out there to help out others, right? And that's the thing. There is this side of the political witchcraft element that has the anti-Nazi, anti-fascist bend. And this is more of an American thing, in my opinion. But I'm up here in Canada, so I'm not really involved with these sort of things. Like, if you guys want to start hexing your local MPs, your MLAs, go about your bad self. It's not the first time some people out here in Tirana wanted to hex Donald Trump or do a death ritual. And I really wanted to see that live, but it was probably a LARP. I don't know. I'm not closed off that there aren't any LARPers, but I'm not involved so much because I'm not offering services. There are charlatans, but I'm not offering any services. When it comes to practicing magic, chaos magic, energy work, all that sort of stuff, it's for selfish purposes. I'm not here to, go out in the broader community and start, like, being an activist in that regard. Like, I'm a selfish prick. I'm not here to do that. If you need help, well, you could ask for it. That's totally fine. I'm not so closed off. But that's where I differ from a lot of people. I'm able to see it on both sides. So inherently, I have to say that witchcraft, depending on your influence and your reach with people, is that if you wish to make it political. Not everything has to be political. Sometimes I find myself in conflict with stuff like that, unfortunately. But now I want to get on to the pagan threat thing. The pagan threat. These are two sides that are eventually probably going to meet. They're going to intersect. But I'm of the opinion, and Thomas Sheridan did talk about this, and I didn't get, like, the full-fledged of the video because when I was watching it, I was half awake, half asleep. And let's see if this guy's going to make me pass. There we go. Awesome. There might be some psyop going on. It's the timing of thing is quite interesting with Charlie Kirk and the experience. The pagan threat. The pagans mind their fucking business for the most part. And they're allowed to live their life as they see fit. My problem are the LARPers. Those ones are an issue for me. So, how and why has this started? Listen, it's not the first time that even the right has started to blame things on paganism. I remember when I was a Wiccan. I remember back in those... I was a Wiccan between 2008 and 2012. I remember Fox News making fun of Wiccan holidays. There are some people that are in school that want to take these holidays off, and the school doesn't necessarily recognize it. So this was a bit of an issue at the time, and they were mocking these holidays, and a lot of pagans went online and started to talk about the sort of shit, about Fox News. This isn't anything new, but I find that this layer, now that I'm more aware, maybe what it is I'm aware of now, probably I wasn't aware of it back then. That is a possibility. But there is an aspect that paganism is going to be utilized against this group of people. Thomas Sheridan talked about Mossad or something, and unfortunately I was half asleep, so I didn't retain all the information, but I will put that in the description below. There are some pagans out there that have views that are not that don't align what I would call like the mainstream paganism, in terms of you have to be a leftist. It's not always like that. Like, Thomas Sheridan calls himself a pagan, and he's more of an anarchist. For me, I'm not a pagan. I'm a left-hand path practitioner, and I'm a libertarian. Sticks, occultist, pagan, libertarian, or classic liberal, whatever you want to call it. Like, we all come in different colors and different shades of it. So it's nothing fucking new what I'm saying, my friends. But just watch out for these two things as it goes along. And if you start to see things about witchcraft and paganism, things get a little bit interesting and kooky. But when you talk about occultism, it's kooky to begin with, because you're diving into a very deep hole, a deep rabbit hole that never ends. It never fucking ends. If you practice magic, in the esoteric sense, you're gonna see it never fucking ends. Everybody's gonna think it's cringe. On some level, it could be cringe, depending on what it is, how it's manifested. But for myself, I see this and I say, just beware of these things, because they're coming after everybody. The elites and intelligence, they're going after anybody and everybody. The whole start of a pagan threat and having to pin Christians against pagans, that's going to be an interesting dichotomy. You have to see that. Like, how did that shit fucking start and happen? And at the same freaking time, within the community, there's also a segment that are woke anyway. So this is going to be quite interesting as time goes along. I don't know if this is going to be a thing, if there's going to be like a resurgence of a satanic panic. Some people thought it was dormant. I'm like, nah, give it a bit of time. Give it a bit of time and see how MAGA is going to deal with it. Let's see how they're going to deal with it as time goes on, because this is Trump's only, this is his final term. He can't get reelected unless there's some fucking loophole I don't know about, but I highly doubt it. I highly fucking doubt it. And we're going to see how these guys are going to start dealing or going after, insert word here, interacting with the pagans. That's going to be quite interesting as time goes on. And we're going to see how that shit is going to manifest up here too, because whatever happens in the United States is going to happen up here in Canada. Very interesting times that we're in. What a time to be alive. Peace out.